think of the United States as so advanced, and we are in so many ways, but a tiny fraction of women are Fortune 500 CEOs. We're yet to have a female president, right? South Korea, Germany, UK has all led us on female leaders. Women still make less for equal work, for the exact same job as men do, and more women and girls live in poverty in this country. Is that something we're actually not talking about enough in this country when you put it all together?
I think you have to talk about it. We have to show what's actually going on in our country. And part of the reason I've even started to speak on these issues is because I would be in low-income countries and thinking, women aren't this far, they aren't that far, if they had this. But then I would have to fly back home and I'd be asking myself, but how far have we really come? I mean, we've made huge strides, but we've kind of hit a stopping point in some ways. And we need to have more women role models. I mean, until young girls can look up and see, 36 different phenotypes of CEOs in Fortune 500 companies, 36 phenotypes of women in government and women in philanthropy and women as scientists and women as technologists, until they can look up and see all that role modeling, we're not going to get parity for men and women in all of these industries. And we need to. I mean, there's just no reason not to. We know that more diverse teams put out a better product.
You say basically that we were making all of this progress and then this country, it sounds like, sort of plateaued. Is there a point, Melinda, when you think that happened and why?
I don't think there's one point where it happened on any one of those things. I think we just got to a certain point and then it kind of stopped. So you get to almost 20% of women in Congress, and then some years it falls back and it kind of goes back up. CEOs, we've kind of got up to a certain point and then it falls back. So, you can go industry by industry and say, why did it happen? But I just know we're not far enough. One of the industries that I'm passionate about making sure we change is the time I'm a computer science major. When I got my degree, 38% of computer science degrees were given to women.
And it got a lot worse.
And now we've gone down to 17%.
Why?
Well, nobody exactly knows, but we think partly the games. When I was a kid, the games were more neutral games like Pong or Pac-Man, Pac-Woman, but the industry became very gamified.
You mean the video games?
The video games became very male-oriented, and women started to drop out of the industry in droves.
You graduated with a degree in computer science and economics from Duke, and you say, it was the last computer science class for most of my female classmates who quickly decided they'd rather major in something else. You literally saw them falling out of the class.
Yeah, after freshman year.
You've called guys in hoodies, quote, a toxic stereotype that has become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Well, I think I got a little misquoted on that. Look,
so set the record straight.
Okay, so look, I programmed with a lot of guys in hoodies. They were great. I mean, I enjoyed programming with them, but I don't think that you want that being the only set that's programming, particularly when you think about where we're going with health applications, where you think about where we're going with artificial intelligence. I mean, if artificial intelligence, which I think is where we're going, if that's going to be taking care of our older generation, do you want just 25-year-old somethings, doing that programming? I think you want some generative thinking in there. And so I think you want to have a diverse set of talent. I think you want to have more women. I think you want to have more Latinos in there, more African Americans in there. We all should be contributing to that and where the future's going. And fixing it now is going to be far easier than trying to fix it later.
Girls' education in STEM. The numbers are sort of appalling when you look at it, even like in middle school and high school for these girls. And then it translates higher and higher up to many fewer women get patents, for example. What needs to change?
In terms of the STEM fields, one of the things we know that good teaching looks like for girls and for boys, but is really for girls keeping their self-esteem up. So girls go through a time in middle school where they think differently about themselves. And so in science and math, they often lose their self-esteem. They kind of lean back. We have to keep their self-esteem up and make them know that even when the boys are shouting out the answer and the girls are raising their hand, that the teacher calls on everybody equally.
It seems like it might make a whole lot of sense to mandate that children in public schools learn how to code.
I don't know.
Will we get there?
I don't know whether it's mandate or whether it's just fun.
Or even encourage or even have it.
Absolutely. In New York City schools is doing that. Kids learning to code these days, if they learn to do it early, I think you'll get far more of them hooked on it. And I think the other thing is, I have a young daughter who's coding. She's 14. she just sees it as fun, right? I mean, she started coding when she was 12. I don't know what she'll do with it, whether she'll go on in that field or whether she'll use it in some other field. But girls are starting to learn that this is fun. And also when they see role models, they say, okay, it's not just that woman who looks a little geeky to me, but wow, there's a woman who I respect and who looks fantastic and like somebody I'd like to be.